Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy 13, no, 12, 11? 12. It's 12, the Zodiac Age on the MysteriousJG. So, between videos I did some grinding for items. I would just like to showcase that by selling Yenza Scale, Green Liquid times 3, Chocobo Feather, Braid Wool, Chocobo Feather times 4, Braid Wool times 2, Tantide times 2, Waterstone times 5, Iron Carapace times 3, Marlboro Vine times 4, Bat Fang times 5, Yellow Liquid, Water Magicite times 3, Bundle of Needles, Ice Magicite times 5, Worm Carapace times 2, Quality Hide times 2, Earth Magicite times 4, Quarrel Pelt times 4, Tyrant Hide times 2, Giant Feather times 5, Festering Flesh times 4, Dark Magicite times 5, Quality Pelt times 6, Insect Husk times 2, Tan Giant Skin times 5, Storm Magicite times 6, a Bombshell, Bomb Ashes, a Book of Orgain, Spiral Incisor times 3, Silver Liquid times 3, Dark Crystal times 3, Prime Pill times 9, Forbidden Flesh times 7, Fire Crystal times 8, Rainbow Egg, Jack-O-Lantern, Orakathi's Flame, Phobos Gaze, and Deimos Clay. We have been able to pick up the following items at the bazaar. We can get ourselves the Rain of Tears, contains 1 Vega and 1 pouch of Water Shot, which bears striking resemblance to tears, every bit as useful against those fire beasts as you'd hope. Let's get that. We can get eye openers. 1 kiss not enough to stir you from your slumber. Perhaps a set of 5 will do the trick. Now, with the matching Tufts of Phoenix down, at a price will make rival retailers blush with envy. We got the Traveler's Garb. Robe and cap ensemble for the travel on the go. And the linings of each are sewn charms warding against misfortune. That gives us Feathered Cap and Traveler's Vestment. A Golden Garb. This 3-piece set includes an ornate breastplate, shield, and helm, seemingly wrought of pure gold. And that gives us golden stuff. Smelling salts and sea, period. Venture on neither hunt nor quest without this set of high potions and nuke high sand in your haversack. Sipping wine. 1 swallow and you will know why they call them spirits. Lose yourself in the first sip, find yourself in the second. You get Bacchus wine. Hollow Shaft Arrows contains 1 Loxley bow, so you can become like John Loxley. Or Moxley, or Dean Ambrose or somebody. And 1 quiver of hollow shaft arrows. The hollows of the arrows are filled with sacks of poison. Oh no. Poison. That's pretty cool. Burnished Protectives. Heavy pieces of armor polished to a mirror finish and suffused with strong magics, affording additional protection beyond the physical. Giving you Bourgeonnet, shielded armor, and an ice shield. Monk's Garb. These pieces are said to wait for one whose heart burns with a worthy flame. They have seen service in battle, and surely smell the part. Headband and Jujitsu-gi, which at one point I had accidentally typed in my notes as Jujitsu-gu. A Triage Kit. Travelers be prepared. Contains both high potions and Tufts of Phoenix down, so you can venture out with confidence. To be murdered by things, heal yourself, and then be murdered again before you can escape, because you've only got 3 high potions. Huntsman's Crossbow contains 1 recurve crossbow and 1 recurve crossbow, so those shoot bolts that then turn back and kill you. And a quiver of... That's not what a recurve crossbow is. And a quiver of needle-tin bolts. The light materials used in the weapon's construction make it a hunter's favorite. This sailor's favorite. Sorry. Jag-toothed ninja sword. With serrated blade, this is a most unusual ninja sword. It is thought that this choice of design may have been made with the further intent of opening any wounds inflicted. And that'll give you a Kaganui, which might be the first ninja sword we can actually equip, depending on which license it requires. Although, because Van, who has a license to use quite a few really good one-handed weapons, is the one with ninja skill, ninja knife licenses, he's probably never going to end up using them, or maybe at the end of the game he'll get the Yagyu Darkblade. Emboldening Arms. Used to perform certain sacred rites in the Eastern Kingdoms, the wearers of these garments are said to experience a great surge of strength. Gives us the Chakra Band and Power Vest. Platinum Gear. Made using only the finest materials, a set of platinum armor gleams handsomely in the light, giving us platinum stuff. Noisome Incendiaries. Contains 1 incendiary device and 1 pouch of poison-spewing bombs. Poison volume regulated by mandate. Poison bombs and fumarole. I don't know how you pronounce that. Oil-soaked incendiaries contains 1 incendiary device, the tumulus, and 1 pouch of bombs. The bombs contain a fortified blasting glycerin and are themselves wrapped in combustible cloth. Oil bombs. The blind flight quarrels. These bolts are actually tightly rolled scrolls, a spell of dark magic inscribed on the vellum. Quite valuable. With included crossbow, it makes for a great bargain. You get the black bolts and hunting crossbow. Nature's armory, clothing and gown made of twig and leaf. Mother Nature's son. And I don't remember the next line of that song, which means I probably didn't even sing enough for you to know what song I'm referencing. Seal's cold embrace is nothing before the splendor of nature's bounty. Giving you a crown of laurels, which I already have a bunch of. It's a really good piece of armor. It's just that because I was off screening so much in the Necrohol of Mullande, and they're a rare drop amongst enemies there, I just got a few of them in the rubber suit. High Potions pack contains 10 high potions. Neither hunter nor adventurer should ever go without. Probably already maxed on those or close to it. Firebird's Whisper contains 10 Tufts of Phoenix Down, a tried and trusted staple at home in the haversack of any adventurer. And the Morbid Urn. It is said that this urn was made to lock away living souls. Whether true or no, a preternatural morbidity hangs about like dark vapor. This is one of the most expensive bazaar items, and you got a canopic jar. It is essential for collecting other loot items that you need to get the best weapons in the game. What else has happened between videos? Well, oh shoot, I'll have to look it up later. I got my hands on some through the same thing, the bazaar loot system. Bazaar, not bizarre. I got my hands on, I just did some reading. There were some items I was looking to get. I was like, damn, I really thought I'd have these by now. And I found out that you should be getting them through the loot system more than anywhere else. So, and this involved grinding against enemies and setting gambits where I would poach instead of kill. But I finally made one. Necrohol reverses effects of restorative items such as potions. This means that, and I've already gone through and seen, Van, Bosch, and Pinello all have Remedy, Lore 1, 2, and 3, which means remedies cure all sorts of status ailments for them. And if any of them are equipped with this and use Remedy on an enemy, it has a 100% chance of inflicting any status ailment curable by Remedy that foe is not immune to, which makes it really good against bosses. Also, something similar that I could occasionally use, and I got several of these, if I can find them. Indigo pendants. Improved chance to strike with magic. So I already had one of these. I grinded for the materials to get even more. I don't know that I'll ever have all 6 characters equipped with them at the same time, but I was on a bit of a roll, and I was watching Rift Tracks and enjoying it and didn't want to set up a different grinding route. But the thing about the Indigo Pendant is, and I didn't understand this is what it did, or I would have been using it before now. It just says improves chance to strike with magics. I got one of these out of a treasure chest earlier in the LP. This means if you use a magic that has a chance to inflict a status ailment, it has a 100% chance to inflict that status ailment on enemies that are immune. So it's not quite as powerful as the Necrohol, but even this thing is not really, unless you kind of know the trick, which is written up in every strategy guide on every boss talks about this item. It's a well-known trick amongst people who've played through the games many times, but not something you'd necessarily know on your first playthrough. But yeah, this item is very powerful when used correctly. And I'll have to go back and read you the descriptions of them later, of getting them through the bazaar system. Another thing that you will note, because while trying to get all these items, I did some looking. We have things called monographs. We'd already gotten one a long time ago. The War Mage's monograph and the Sage's monograph we got. With these are just, you meet certain requirements and you go to the bazaar and you're allowed to buy the monograph. And what it means is when you fight enemies of a certain type, it doesn't interfere here. It's elemental. So if you kill elementals, there's a chance they will drop an extra specific to owning the monograph piece of loot. And it doesn't seem to interfere with their ability to drop the regular loot. You'll kill an enemy, it could drop its common loot, it could drop its rare loot, and then on top of that there's a chance that it will drop something that it will only drop if you have the monograph. So if something with the monograph equipped will drop a perfect pelt, and with their common drop is pelt and their rare drop is tanned pelt and monograph is perfect pelt, then you'll get whatever you would have got, either the pelt or the tanned pelt, whichever one you happen to get, if either. And then the perfect pelt will just sometimes drop, sometimes won't. It won't influence it won't be affected by anything else. So we already had those for elementals and for amorphs and undead. So I read up on, because some of the items I was trying to get as drops in order to make these items in the bazaar. And the ones I just made in the bazaar just simply came from me. I sold all of my loot, saved my game, sold all of my loot, saw what was available, then went into the facts and found out, well, what items did I sell that actually made those become available? And I sold, and I double-checked and made sure none of those were taking up items that I desperately needed for something else, because most of the loot in this game only goes into 1 or 2 recipes. And I just kind of carefully went through and I sold everything. I saw what became available and I sold everything, and then I went back and sold only the things I needed to sell to get those and kept the rest of my loot. But the monographs also, while reading up on these bazaar recipes and how to get stuff, most of these involve going to talk to an armor shopkeeper, any armor shopkeeper. Doesn't have to be in a road, doesn't have to be the same one, but like if you've talked to armor shopkeepers 50 times, you will be allowed to buy a monograph. If you talk to a magic shopkeeper 50 times, you will be allowed to buy a monograph. Thus, I've got almost all of them now. And the canopic jar is another one of those. Unless I just sold all of my loot, I would have never found out I was allowed to get this, because I knew this item existed. But the 3 things you need to sell at the bazaar to get it are all rewards for doing hunt missions, and they're all things that you can only ever gain 1 of at any point in the game. So when I wasn't selling anything that I didn't have more than 10 of, because I wanted to make sure I didn't waste anything, I never sold them. So now I finally have a canopic jar. But in addition, I went and researched and made sure, okay, the fact that I'll never get those items back, there's nothing else they're used for except to get the canopic jar. So that's the thing. All right. All right. All of that being said, what else is there to talk about? 10, 12 minutes of off-screening discussion here. I've leveled up the men to 75. The ladies are at level 69. That's a coincidence. I'm not trying to be cute or sexy by having the ladies at level 69. As a matter of fact, they were only at like level 67 or so when I was just off-screen grinding for levels, and then I started grinding for loot items, and they kind of leveled up twice during that period. So it's just kind of a coincidence. All of them have a level that is divisible by something, so none of them are going to be able to go up against a really high-end boss that has like level 3 sleep, level 4 death, level 5 stop, or whatever. I mean, I would just be vulnerable to those things when I fought them. That's all there is to it. I'm kind of curious if anybody's optimal equipment has changed. Crown of Laurels and Maximilian. Well, that's true for him. Not really. They want her to use the Dragon Whisker. I'm okay with her using... I like her using range stuff, so let's... The Penetrator crossbow. See, so I got new crossbows, but in fact, the Penetrator crossbow I had is better. And the long bolts do slow, which I kind of like. That's why I've been using them, even though I already had stuff that are better. Immobilize. Disable's actually really good. And then blind. I don't know how likely they are to hit, but these do a little bit more damage. So disable or slow? I guess disable's better. None of this armor that I got is really popping up as better than what I already had. He's got the lightning arrows. I now have bamboo arrows, which do poison. That's probably better. They want her using Black Mask and Maximilian. Why is she using these things that she's using? Mage Power Shahask does... I'm not sure why she's using the things that she's using now. It's going to bring her strength and magic power down. Her defense goes up. Absorbs stuff. Whatever. She should be using Save the Queen according to the game, but I like her using... hold on. I'll let it do this, but then I'm going to go change to ranged. She's still using the same gun, because none of the... I need a ship to take me to Aldebaran. None of the stuff that she's picked up in the meantime is better than what she already had. So she can use the silent shot. She can get slightly better damage using one of these elemental things. Whatever. I guess on-hit silence is good. So yeah, most of all that gear that I got, by and large, game doesn't give a shit. It's like, this is not better than what you were already using. So one-handed weapon, we picked up. Can't even find it now. The we've got this awesome new ninja sword that the game just doesn't. I guess we already had one of whatever it is. What the hell is it? Oh, it might be a two-handed weapon. Was it the Orochi? I don't think it was. I think it was the Yakai. Yeah, but again, it's like Katana 4. Hold on. Oh, that's a katana, not a ninja sword. Yeah, all these ninja swords that I found, Koga Blade and Iga Blade, he can use, but Kaganui, that's what it is, and it uses the license that he doesn't have, so whatever. Alright. Anyway. So, sorry, apologies, but the computer just made a funny noise, and I want to make sure that I'm still recording. And it looks like I'm still recording. Okay. Alright, so that's like half the video, but boy, that was actually it was quite a bit of off-screening to... particularly, I was going around doing this... I'll show you real quick. Because from anywhere, we can kind of show the world map. So at one point I was in the Zertan Caverns on this screen, going around in circles, killing enemies just because they're rare drop. I needed a bunch of to make the item that allows you to reverse the effect of remedies and stuff. Then there was something where this screen, as it turns out, if you know by reading facts, because otherwise you really wouldn't, if you kill all the regular enemies here, undead start spawning, and those undead, if poached, have a rare chance of dropping another item that we needed in order to get the item that reverses the effects of potions and remedies and stuff. So that one I spent a lot of time on because the drop rate was very low, and eventually you would kill like 24 of them, and it takes forever because you have to get them down to you have to set your gambits so that you're using really weak weapons so you don't one-shot them or two-shot them, and then you have to get them down to less than 20% health, and then people can poach them. So it was quite... I was using, the speed-up option, but it was still taking quite a while. And then finally, and this is where I was doing my off-screens for leveling, too. I'm going to the wrong place here. But if you go to the Tichta Uplands... Oh, no, it's not even the Tichta Uplands. If you go to the Sorobi Steppe, there's a couple screens here with these worm enemies that usually start out asleep. They have a rare chance to drop the other item that you need to get the accessory that reverses the effects of remedies, and you need to get quite a few of them, and it's very rare for them to drop them, and the only chance you really have is to get the... I don't even remember what you call it. You kill a certain number of enemies in a row, and you get like a meter that you've killed the same enemy over and over and over again. You have to avoid everything except those enemies and run back and forth and respawn them and fight them and set your gambits so that you only attack those guys, which for me involved having a character cast slow on anything that's asleep, and then having characters only attack enemies that are asleep, and pay attention and make sure I don't end up ever... it was kind of a pain in the butt, but I got it to where the characters were automatically doing what I needed them to do for the most part, and killed those, and that's how we ended up. And I guess I'll show you this real fast, too. The video is mostly over now. Last but not least, to get the item that gives you 100% chance that your stat magics will kill the enemy, or will impact the enemy. It's the rare drop of these toad enemies that live in these two screens here. So you just, again, you have to make sure you kill them and don't kill anything else to get your meter as high as possible, because that makes it more likely you'll get the rare item. And those are a pain to fight, where you can't just kill everything. You have to make sure you only go to the screens those guys are on. But there were screens that only those enemies are on, so it wasn't too bad. Not as bad as the worms, who were consistently on a screen with other enemies. And the worst are anything you have to poach. So we are going to now, finally, I think in this video, before it's over, we can get something done. And we're going to go to the Nabrius Deadlands, and we're going to try to take out the other creature that is there that you have to take out before you fight the big bad boss of the whole zone. Oh, you know what I'm going to do is, because I'm not, right now I've got them set for the thing that it gives them extra experience, but I'm not worried about that right now. I should be a lot more worried about not getting killed by traps while I'm running away from everything as fast as possible, because that will also be important once we get in there. So we'll switch. Somebody got hit hard by something. It sounded like a trap, but I know it wasn't. And too far this way. All right. Killing these guys is probably more effective than running away from all of them. Everybody's been slowed now. I guess I don't have my gambit set up to do anything about that. Missing a treasure chest, apparently. Because the game is making "you are missing a treasure chest" noises. Actually, I have no idea where this treasure chest is. There's supposed to be a shop hidden around this place, but I keep failing to find it. A Vanish Gamut. Alright. So it was a long video full of explanation, but hopefully we can get to a boss fight before we're done. Nobody leveled up, did they? Okay, I didn't think so. I would have been, I mean, I would have been fine with that, but and if you're willing to slow down when you hit corners, frame skip running around the place can be useful. We are so much more powerful than we were the first time I came into this place. You have to like creep around carefully with every single battle. Now we can kind of frame skip around a bit. So that was where we fought the Fury, I think. So I want to skip past the boss fight here and go to the next room where you can see there's a gate that we haven't unlocked. Basically just looking at the map. We don't want to be here. That's where we're going to want to go for the last boss fight in the Necrohol of Mullande, at which point we really will, for all intents and purposes, have cleared the Necrohol. I had a video earlier saying we were cleansing it of evil. That was kind of a lie. But we'll kind of, for realsies, be clearing it out here if we finish this place. And we got a demon eyeball, so that's pretty neat. One of you ladies knows the haste spell, I'm sure. Yeah, probably my time mage would know the haste spell. That would make sense. I'm actually not going to bother to use... I'm not going to bother to use the trick where you hit an enemy with remedy on this boss. I'll save it for the big boss of this area. It seems like it's more deserving of that kind of thing. But I might just go ahead and give... we will, however, go ahead and use... where the heck is it? The Indigo Pendant. So that she can whoop up on stuff with magic. I think I'll go ahead and give Hermes Sandals to our main attacker. And we can go ahead and use Bubble Belt on Pinello. So that she'll be quite tough. Door of Horrors. There's a small circular depression in the door. Examine the depression. Well, your depression seems to be caused by ennui about life. Use the Medallion of Bravery. And see if this time another giant enemy appears and is attacked by a small cute rabbit. Or maybe a small cute rabbit will appear and be attacked by a giant enemy. At least we'll get something done in this video. Ooh, it's a big feller. Yeah, it would be Humbaba. He's the Humbaba Mistin, and he's got haste and bravery applied. Let's go ahead and dispel all of its good stuff that it's got going. And let's have our resident time mage hit it first with slow. It's going for darkness, eh? We will see if poison works. It is immune to poison. Let's see if bleed works. I can't imagine that break will work, but we can try bleed. Yeah, for some reason, a lot of enemies in this game are immune to poison, but not that many are immune to sap, which I thought was kind of similar. But it could be that I'm really misunderstanding what some of these spells actually do. Let's see if we can hit with oil. It is immune to oil. It was immune to poison and oil. Time magic, what's left? We've already got slow on it. I mean, we could try for disable. Break. I guess we'll try disable before we stop. It is immune. Alright, so let's get our stealing things going here. Just in case it's got something worth stealing. Beast Lord hide. That was probably worth stealing. I think the next fight will be with the main big bad of this area will be more challenging. But slowing it and sapping it means that it's dying pretty damn fast. As you can see, the combos of Ash are pretty devastating. And she's attacking rapidly, of course. Temblor, the Fresh Maker. Meanwhile, she could be using, like, Confuse and stuff. Especially if I gave her the item that makes status magics always hit. But, I doubt it works anyway, so let's just get on with dispelling it. So this is slowed and sapped. Somebody blocked it. I guess... Silence? Oh, it got hit with silence. Something it did got rid of all its other negative stuff, though. Well, something it did got rid of slow. And I keep forgetting, I've got some other cool techniques I should be using, like shear. Oh, that's magic resist. I'm basically beating him up with physical. Sadly, don't have shear or any other similar cool destroy your stats type stuff with my other characters. Pardon me. Sorry about that. Well, Temblor seems to be fancy physical attack. I'm not sure what happened to make... Oh, I guess slow just wears off after a while. Yeah, she really needs to be healed, so... It's a little late now, but, Ash almost got killed there. I don't think Temblor is going to save you, pal. So it's probably a little less difficult than the fight against the rabbit. But I did a lot more with... I mean, Sap probably helped a lot. Aww. He's adorable. Uh-oh. Run to the sides, man. Too bad his sword didn't get smaller. It's the only part of him that didn't change size. I think there's a joke somewhere amongst the various, either Amazing Colossal Man or War of the Colossal Beast. There was a joke about how Glenn Manning's body's changed size, but his manhood didn't change at the same rate as everything else. Or her. Alright, guys, so that's that done. We obtained the map of the Necrohol of Mullande. Cool. And the Medallion of Might. So, is there any loot in this room that we want to get? Do we want to get our Paulions back on? We probably do. So what we'll do is we'll check this loot, then we'll call it a video, and I think between videos to try to make up a little bit for all the time that was spent describing off-screening and just not giving you that much to look at. Between videos, I will go out, get all healed up and save a crystal and come back and be ready to walk into the door and fight the big bad boss of this whole area without making you guys watch me go through the process of getting to it. So we got a Scathe Moat, which doesn't really seem all that impressive. But I'm pretty sure you can't buy them in stores. So it's not like the most worthless treasure ever. But we also now have the map of this area. And as we can see, we've already been everywhere except the Crucible. What will we find in the Crucible? Well, we're going to find another boss fight. And we'll get to that boss fight in the next video. I'm the MysteriousJG. Thank you guys very much for watching. Come back next time for more. Bye-bye.